If you work in the legal world, or frankly, if you've ever had to deal with complex paperwork under tight deadlines, you definitely know there's this huge hidden cost.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the fee on the paper, right? It's the administrative drag. All those billable hours just vanishing while someone stands in line, or drives across parishes, or deals with the sheer frustration of a rejected filing
Oh,
again.
yeah, that administrative weight. It can seriously hamstring a firm's efficiency.
Hmm.
So today, we're going to cut right into a potential solution by looking at a really specialized part of the legal support system.
Okay.
Our source material is from Lafayette Process Servers LLC. They're specialists in these kinds of support services, working right there in Louisiana, I think Metairie, New Orleans, that whole area.
Got it. So our mission for this deep dive then is to use their approach as a kind of real-world example. We want to show you how getting really specific, really local expertise can take these super friction-heavy tasks.
Like service of process, court filings.
Exactly, and turn them into something smooth, predictable, a professional workflow.
And it's more than just outsourcing basic tasks. It's really about strategically bringing in that deep local know-how. The aim is efficiency, sure, but maybe even more vital, it's about cutting down risk and getting things right the first time. Compliance.
Okay, let's unpack this. Starting at the very beginning of any legal action. Secure service of process.
Mm,
The sources lay out this really clean, secure way to upload documents.
right.
This online portal seems designed to replace what used to be, a pretty messy handoff. It turns
Yeah.
it into just 3 simple steps.
And that speed, that clarity, it's absolutely critical. Step one for the client is, well, it's simple. Go to the secure portal, select your documents, upload them. And it sounds like the system can handle multiple files at once, which is great. Get it all done in one go.
And step 2 is all about getting the details right. They need the essential info,
Hmm.
the correct name, the entity being served, the precise address for service, and then, this seems important, any special instructions.
Absolutely crucial, those instructions. And then step 3, just hit submit. But, this is where the system's value really shows. As soon as you submit, you get an instant confirmation email.
Okay.
Now, for a law firm, that's not just a notification. It's like an immediate, verifiable proof that your documents are now officially in the hands of the process server.
That instant audit trail must take away so much anxiety. You know the responsibility, the clock has shifted to the vendor, not your own team.
Exactly right. And the workflow from there is designed to be transparent, very professional. After that confirmation, a prepaid invoice gets generated and sent out.
Ah, prepaid.
Yep. Service doesn't actually start until that invoice is paid. It just removes any doubt about commitment and lets the service provider, allocate their resources right away. Super important when you're dealing with tight deadlines for service. They really stress handling everything with utmost care and professionalism.
I did see they mentioned 24/7 availability. How does that really work? I mean, courthouses have very fixed hours. Are they actually taking calls at 3 a.m. to prep a filing?
Well, that 24/7 aspect is probably less about physically filing at 3 a.m. and more about being accessible for the consultation and prep stage.
Right, the setup.
Yeah. Legal deadlines don't care about 9 to 5. So if a firm lands a case late Friday, needs service initiated right away to meet a Saturday deadline, they need to be able to upload docs, confirm instructions, pay that invoice immediately.
Mm.
The availability is about keeping that administrative channel open so the actual physical service can happen the very first second the courts or rules allow. It's being ready to launch the moment it's possible.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay, so we've covered getting the documents securely into their hands, but what about when the case moves forward, documents are ready for the court itself? This gets us to what feels like a huge strategic plus for law firms, the courthouse runner. The sources kind of throw down the gauntlet here, asking, are you still wasting billable hours waiting in line at the courthouse?
That question, it says so much about modern legal practice. A busy firm billing out paralegals or associates at hundreds an hour. They absolutely should not have that person spending, 45 minutes finding parking, then another hour in line to the civil district court.
Right.
The professional runner is framed as an essential partner precisely because they convert that wasted time directly back into productive, billable strategy work.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate here for a moment. Why not just use a standard courier service? The cheap option. Is paying for a specialized runner actually saving money, or is it just adding another expense?
That's a really important question. It highlights the difference between just moving something, logistics, and having specialized knowledge.
Yeah.
A standard courier, like the sources point out, basically just drops off a package.
Their job's done.
Exactly. They assume the package is perfect. They don't know or care if the clerk rejects it later. Their task ends the moment it leaves their hands.
And the expert runner is different how?
Oh, completely different. Think of the expert courthouse runner as an extension of the law firm's own quality control, but right there at the courthouse door. They understand the process. They know the clerks. They know the specific local rules for different filings in that specific parish. And critically, they check documents before they even attempt to file.
Ah, the pre-check.
Yes, making sure all the copies are there, signatures are in place, the format matches exactly what that court demands. They prevent that awful situation where your filing bounces back on a technicality, delaying your case, forcing you to start all over.
So the saving isn't just the time spent standing in line, it's also risk management, avoiding that delay that could completely mess up a deadline or a hearing date.
Precisely. And the sources underline this with their billing. They use a flat rate structure for filings. It's designed to save time and money compared to, tracking every minute of travel and waiting time for an employee. You know the cost up front. No surprises. It avoids paying that high billable rate for what is essentially a non-specialized task if done internally.
And they mention the founder, Scott Frank, having over 20 years of dedicated experience in Louisiana legal support services. That experience, that's the secret sauce they're selling, isn't it? It's not just someone running. It's 2 decades of knowing exactly how things work on the ground.
It really is institutional knowledge personified, applied directly to making things efficient. And being so hyper-local lets them offer really impressive service levels because they have people physically present at the key courthouses every single business day.
Every day.
They can offer same-day and 24-hour filing, which, as you know, is absolutely essential when a judge orders something that needs immediate action.
There was another point about efficiency that really stood out to me, especially thinking about firms with lots of litigation or fast-moving cases. They can advance court filing fees. How does that work?
Yeah, that's a huge time saver. But it's important, the sources note, this is for their established clients.
Ah, okay. Relationship-based.
It's built on trust. If a filing is super urgent, and maybe the firm hasn't gotten the check cut or the wire sent yet, the runners can pay those court fees right there on the spot to keep things moving. Then those fees just get added to the final invoice. It lets the legal process keep pace with the court's timeline, not get bogged down by internal accounting delays.
That flexibility, that really does sound like a true partnership. The firm operates on the court's schedule, not their own admin schedule.
Which leads us perfectly into the next part.
Yeah.
The sheer depth of local knowledge needed to pull this off, especially somewhere as complex as Louisiana's legal system. This isn't some generic national service.
Right. You mentioned they have daily routes to specific key courts.
Yeah.
That tells you where the main volume and likely the main complexities are. Which courts did the sources specifically highlight?
They focus on the ones handling a lot of the significant civil cases in that region. First, there's a 24th Judicial District Court, the 24th JDC over in Gretna. That's Jefferson Parish. Jefferson Parish is known for high volume and, crucially, its own very specific set of local rules that can easily trip up lawyers who aren't there every day.
And the other major ones.
Then you got the Orleans Parish Civil District Court, CDC, right in New Orleans. That handles the big civil cases for the city itself. And given New Orleans' long history, the complexity of cases there, property disputes, commercial litigation, the filing nuances are, well, legendary.
I can imagine.
And lastly, they mentioned the First Parish Court of Jefferson, which is in Metairie. Having teams physically present at these specific spots daily is really the foundation of their speed and reliability.
So it's not just about driving there, it's about navigating the specific quirks of each building, each clerk's office, day in and day out.
That's exactly it. And if you look beyond just filing a new lawsuit, the range of services they offer really positions them as like an external administrative arm for the law firm. It covers pretty much anything requiring someone physically at the courthouse.
Let's dig into that advanced support a bit. Daily filing. Okay, that's the baseline. But what other services really save a firm significant time or prevent those admin headaches during a case?
Well, think about retrieving documents. It's a huge time sink. They don't just file new stuff. They also retrieve copies of old judgments, pleadings from years ago, sometimes even entire case files that only exist in physical form down in some records room.
Right.
For a lawyer working on, say, a complex property case going back decades, having an expert who knows how to physically locate those archived records is invaluable. Saves hours, maybe days of staff time.
And what about those little tasks that seem minor but can be surprisingly tricky, like getting a specific document right into a judge's hands?
Yes, the courtesy copies or judge's copies.
Yeah.
Many local rules demand that certain motions or briefs get delivered directly to the judge's chambers, totally separate from the main clerk's filing desk.
Wow.
Their service makes sure those copies get handled correctly, following those specific, sometimes unwritten, local protocols for chamber delivery. Again, save someone from the firm a trip that could eat up half their day.
It's interesting they even specify things like document binding. Why is that specialized? Can't anyone just use a binder?
You'd think so. But that detail is really important, especially for appeals or really complex briefs. Court rules can be incredibly specific about how things must be bound, the type of staple, the cover color, even where the holes are punched or the margin sizes. Yeah. So professional binding ensures the document doesn't get kicked back just because someone used the wrong kind of plastic comb. It's all about ticking every single compliance box.
And the last one mentioned was courthouse research. What kind of research is that exactly?
This goes beyond just grabbing a file. Their team can actually perform detailed on-site research into old case files, archived public records, local property records, things that might not be digitized or easily accessible online.
So, if you need to trace property ownership back to the 1950s or find a specific motion from a related case years ago.
Exactly. A paralegal working remotely might spend ages trying to figure out how to even access those records. These runners are physically there, they know the records rooms, they know how to navigate the system to find what's needed fast. And of course, they handle secure courier runs between law firms too, keeping confidential documents safe in transit.
So it really covers the whole administrative life cycle of a case at the courthouse level, from starting it securely through all the ongoing filings and retrievals, right down to specialized research.
It's pretty much end-to-end administrative management, but specifically tailored for the Louisiana legal environment.
Okay, now before we sort of wrap up this look at the legal support side, we absolutely have to touch on the legal context here. The sources themselves provide a really important disclaimer. We're talking about professional support services.
Yes, very important distinction.
But we need to be clear about what they are and aren't.
Absolutely. We really need to stress for you, the listener, that everything we've discussed about these processes, these services, it's for general information, educational purposes only. The source material explicitly includes a legal advice disclaimer. It says clearly, this blog post provides general information and is not a substitute for legal advice.
Yeah.
Every legal situation is unique.
And the roles are fundamentally different. The sources are careful to point out that if you yourself have been served with legal papers, your first step must be to consult a qualified Louisiana attorney immediately. Discuss your specific situation, your rights, your options.
Right. The providers are very clear about their function. They state it plainly. We are not lawyers. We are professional courthouse runners.
Keeping that line clear ensures everyone understands where the essential administrative support ends and where the crucial strategic legal counsel begins. Okay, so that brings us toward the end of this deep dive. What really strikes me is how the value of this super-localized, specialized knowledge in law is measured in such concrete ways. It's billable hours recovered, it's travel costs saved, it's the risk of those costly rejections just managed away by expert eyes. This whole model really feels like a case study in using deep local know-how to smooth out the rough edges of dealing with bureaucracy.
It really does fundamentally shift how a modern law firm might think about allocating its resources. So here's a final thought for you to mull over, building on all this. If the time saved by using these specialized runners for all the administrative legwork gets plowed directly back into focusing on the complex legal strategy, the actual casework, how does the rise of these kinds of hyper-specialized support roles really change the basic structure, maybe even the billing model of a sophisticated law firm today?
That's interesting.
And maybe taking it a step further, what other professional fields like, say, finance or maybe complex real estate transactions could benefit from this same kind of expert, localized administrative outsourcing? Where else is that friction costing serious time and money?
A really compelling question to consider. Knowing the administrative landscape just as well as the legal one, that seems like a modern necessity for efficiency. Well, that concludes this deep dive. Hopefully you can apply some of the knowledge we've uncovered.